Hey there, and thank you very much for joining. Absolutely. My name is Scott McKenzie. I am the host of the Industrial Talk podcast. I've gotten, let's say, 700 podcasts under my belt. And really what we focus on, of course, is industry and the benefits associated with that, and celebrating the women and men of industry, because you guys deserve to be celebrated. Now, the reason I'm starting these particular podcasts, well, this is a live. I got podcasts, I've got videos, I've got webinars, I've got all this. These are pretty interesting because I want to respect your time. Plus, it gives me the opportunity to be able to truly look at technology as a whole in a better way of communicating, right? Because our responsibility is to be able to communicate our knowledge, our thoughts, to not only just internally, but externally as well, customers, prospects. But you'll notice that I'm really passionate about sales, marketing, and branding. And so a lot of that stuff I start gravitating towards. And so we're going to have that conversation today. And it really revolves around HiiT. I'm an avid exerciser. HiiT is the high intensity or high interval intensity training. That's what it is. Anyway, the bottom line is that you do a lot of things, and you train your body to get used to a lot of different activities. And as I was doing that, and as I do that, I'm interested in how to take that approach and apply it to sales, marketing, and branding. And because I'm not a big fan of webinars, because, well, quite frankly, they're boring. And I'm going to, once again, respect your time, and we're going to get right into it. Now, when we start talking about HiiT, when we start thinking about that, and I'll just back up a little bit. I sit there, and I naturally gravitate to lifting weights. I just do, right? I just do. And if I just did that, if I just lifted weights, then I would be somewhat suboptimal when it comes to my exercise routine. Makes sense? Because I'm just only doing one thing and focusing on one facet of being physical, right? So I incorporate Pilates. I incorporate a lot of cardio, and in conjunction with lifting weights. So I get that sort of full body type of benefit. And without a doubt, it's better, right? It just is. The same thing I want to be able to talk to you about applies to business. Now, with 400, 500, 600, whatever podcasts under my belt, I've distilled the focus down into these categories. And the categories are: one, I want to retain talent. I want to manage risk, R-I-S-K. I want to save money, right? I want to make money. And I want to be able to be resilient, right? Because we just don't know what's going to happen in the future. We just don't. It's just one of those things. And this is through conversations I've had with industry and industry leaders and professionals. They want to do that. They want to be able to retain the talent, especially now. They want to be able to manage that risk. They want to save money, make money, and create some resiliency. Now, how do they do that? We're talking about collaboration, because you don't have all the answers. Somebody might have a piece of the solution or piece of that puzzle, but you need to collaborate to get the full picture. That is probably the best way. We want to collaborate, we want to innovate, not just from a technology perspective, right? Not just from, how do we take innovation and deploy it? No, we're talking about how we innovate across your business. That's what they're struggling. Now is the time, because the two-finger death punch that was given to us by COVID, that's the big deal. One of the biggest, and I mean biggest, is learning, education. Especially today, right? Especially today. Things are changing rapidly. How do I educate my valuable talent so that we can respond today and in the future, so that we can be more resilient, so we can make more money, so we can save more money, so we can manage those risks? Education is huge. Speed is the next one. I think everybody understands that. We got to do it fast. We got to be nimble. We've got to do it with a sense of purpose and focus. Big time, no doubt about it. We've got to do it. The biggest challenge with all of this is great. All of this is good. And this comes from leaders within industry, leaders within manufacturing. So we got to take action. Action. We got to move forward. You know what that means? We got to make mistakes. And when we start talking about making mistakes, people start to really have a big issue with that, right? Just a big issue with that. So we're going to talk a little bit about HiiT and how we apply it with that structure, okay? So when we start talking about HiiT, that's just being able to, one, do a lot of things and stretch our abilities and learn as we go. So when I start looking at business, when we start looking at how we've got at the center, we got this little, hub. And in business, we've got operations, we've got sales, we've got marketing, we've got branding, right? So far, so good. No pushback on that. Finance, right? No pushback there. We've got leadership, learning how to lead, right? Lead. We got to do that. We've got technology, right? What does that mean? Well, there's technology, and boy, do we have technology out there. And another one that we've got to be really interested in, leverage, is emerging tech, right? Because things are happening and happening fast. Now, if I was not a proponent of HiiT, I would naturally gravitate to the sales and marketing and branding. I'm not saying that that's bad. I'm not saying it's negative, because I'm constantly looking at ways of being able to generate and bring in more revenue and be able to be more creative and more innovative when it comes to sales, marketing, and branding, bar none. Okay? But what if I just continue to just focus on this the whole time? We're in this COVID world. I just keep on focusing on sales, marketing, and branding. But your customer, your prospect, the people you want to truly help and solve their pain and challenges, they're focused on every aspect of this particular wheel, big time. Then they're saying, I got to sell, I got to manage or market, I got to brand, I've got to understand emerging technology, I've got to understand. What if I came to that individual and all my perspective was just here? I'm not going to be able to really talk the talk. There's a gap that exists as a result of this conversation. There just is. The bottom line is a gap. I want to challenge everybody to consider HiiT. So that means you don't have to be a master at leadership, but you certainly can do the homework and the education to have some idea of the challenges that exist today with companies. Technology, right? And that's CRM, enterprise asset management, ERPs, maintenance systems, real core stuff. Understand, your customer, your client, your prospect could be wrestling here and challenged with trying to extract information from that. Learn about it. Emerging technology, big, right? Industry 4.0, digitization, right? It just automatically, digitization, right? That is a huge area that companies prospects, individuals are wrestling with today. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of jargon. There's a lot of chirping that goes along with that. How do I, me, you, company, help your client, your prospect, navigate those waters? If I'm not engaged in learning that, if I'm not engaged in what does that mean and the benefits associated with it, I fail because I'm not helping my customer, my client, my prospect see the big picture. Now, I'm not saying you have to be the expert, because honestly, I have a learning management system. I have these elements within it, but I'm not going to talk about me personally. I'm not going to talk about emerging technology. Although I've done 700 plus podcasts, I can definitely talk the talk, but I am not the expert. I am not the individual that will say, yeah, you need to go down. This is the road you need to do it. This is how you do it. Not there. So you get the picture. Now is the time. There's no excuse to be able to access this information. It's online someplace. Your challenge, is where do you go? What is good? All I'm saying is that you move forward, that you continue to try to strive to understand more, especially today when the pain meter is just off the chart, right? You've got to be able to help and solve the pain that exists today with your clients. Have that collaborative conversation. Talk to them about innovation. Look to education to be able to help them succeed and prosper in the future. You can't just come to them with, a single piece of paper that is like, this is what we do. You've got to be able to have that more HiiT look at what you bring to the table and how you can definitely help your clients succeed. Does that make sense? HiiT. Get out there, learn, and grow. You'll be fine. You'll be great. But anyway, I challenge you to do that. Thank you very much. We're going to continue to do this. By the way, this is StreamYard. And StreamYard, if you're interested in doing this, because you got to market, right? You got to sell, you got to brand. So StreamYard gives us the ability to be able to do all of this wonderful graphics, the pre-stuff, all cool stuff. That's the exciting part of this future. Anyway, thank you very much. We're going to have more. We're going to continue to do that. We've got Heroes of Manufacturing. We've got the Industrial Talk podcast. We've got news aggregators. Go out to industrialtalk.com. Find out more, because you deserve it. We celebrate you all the time. Take care. Be safe, okay?